But first we will start with the biggest news there is. Kerry unlikely as hell to qualify for the quarterfinals last week, and there we go, a week later, Liam, we shouldn't have bothered worrying at all. All is right in the world.
A week is a long time in politics.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a long time in football too, yeah.
I say when Jack O'Connor got home last night, and he obviously knew the Cork result well in advance of that, he must have been really pleased with himself.
I think, like, coming off the field with the performance that they had, and then definitely hearing that Cork were after doing us a big favour, because that week of a break, it will stand to Kerry, because you see from the draw today that was going to be a minefield. And not only that, even if we got over next week, you were hoping you'd pick up no injuries to go on to the following week. So we're into the money business, the money side of the business now, you could say, from now on. And that break will be ideal for Kerry.
Mm-hmm. John, the one thing that Kerry have been, I suppose, given out about is that we've been lethargic, we've been slow, we've been monotonous. None of that on display last Sunday.
No, Donal, it was they were very sharp. Listening to people before the game yesterday and watching Louth warm up behind on the pitch outside the main pitch, there was a kind of I'm not saying a fear, but they were wondering what Kerry team would turn up, and Louth, having ran Cork and Mayo to 2 points and a pint, there was even people talking if Cork win and we lose, we'll be out of the championship. But Kerry hit the ground running. Their energy levels were up. I think Dermot Connor set the tone in the first quarter from the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. He attacked, kicked 3 great points. The Clifford, Shawnee Shea, it was a very workmanlike performance, and they didn't ease up. They kept driving on, and there was a pace about them yesterday.
Go back to that point, they didn't ease up. I mean, in other days, in other eras, in other years, you go 10, 15 points clear, you kind of mind yourself and you wind down. Why was it important for Kerry to keep going yesterday?
I think they need to send out a message yesterday.
Markers, yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I think they did, and they certainly did that. We've said all along, you get to the business end, you get to Croke Park, we're there now, no matter how you get there. But I think this game, the last one before the quarter-final, was very important. And, as I said, Louth had been performing very well against Cork and Mayo. How good were they? The question marks about ourselves, we certainly answered them emphatically, and right to the very end they kept working, they kept going, and even they're talking in the field, you could hear them. I was on the Terrace side, you could hear them encouraging, go for it, take him on, shoot. That was there yesterday, and a fantastic performance against, now we'll have to say though, a very poor Louth team, very poor.
Were they poor or they made look poor, Liam?
A bit of both, Donal. But I would agree with
they were still the team personnel-wise anyway. That ran Mayo and Cork.
But listening even to the Louth supporters before the game, and they were kind of happy if they could hold us to 4 or 5 points. That was their attitude and stuff like that. And I don't know, was there a bit of awe there with Kerry? And that's something we always kind of preached, that the green and gold jersey, that teams fear the green and gold jersey. And for a while there, we were looking at it, we were saying teams don't fear us anymore. But I think that's where our markers yesterday is going to be huge. But from the word go, you could see from the warm up. I was watching the Kerry warm up. It was intense. It was one-on-one stuff. It was basically...
It's a very simple warm-up though.
Simple warm-up, yeah.
Straight away you get the ball into your hand. It's one-on-one. Louth came out, and I saw
they had bodies behind. You could see the way they were going to play. Yeah.
He had a cone for everybody.
But that's the first time I seen Kerry do that now this year. Mm-hmm. That we had our forwards taking on our defenders one-on-one. And not only that, Jack was kicking in the ball. Mm-hmm. You saw there was a buzz there from the word go. I suppose, look, like I said, we're in the business side of the championship now. Kerry went out with a mission yesterday from the word go. We were off the mark. Yeah. Look, I was above at the Cork match, like yourselves, and I just thought there was no big difference from the Mayo match. We were lethargic. We were, everyone was kind of saying, look, Cork were better than what we thought. Our body language, it wasn't there for the Cork match. It was there yesterday. Mm-hmm. The minute David Clifford, you could see him, he was egging everyone on. You said Dermot O'Connor with the points that he kicked. Last week, we were turning around and passing that ball backwards, and we were waiting for David Clifford to do something. Yesterday, boys took responsibility, and that's what we need.
And I think another thing, Liam, Paddy Clifford moved to the 40 yesterday.
Big difference there.
And we've been saying this for quite some time. Paddy, when he drills that ball in, his vision is something else. But Shawnee excelled inside,
Did, yeah.
Shawnee was on a mission yesterday. He kicked a point from the Terrace side. A superb score at the very start. I'm putting down a marker here against these fellas. And the other thing is then Sam Mulroy, I was watching him yesterday in the first 10 minutes. 2 balls went in, Jason Foley got the body in, got the hand in, and suddenly what did Mulroy do? He was back in his own half-back line. He was no threat back there. I think our matchups and their big men were nullified, and we were well on top.
We quietened them in the first 15 minutes.
All that well and good, but I mean, God, was I have to say match at all? I mean, for the first 4 or 5 minutes, Louth walked up the field. I thought they created a lot of chances, and they missed 3 horrendous wides, 21 yards out, left legs,
and a goal chance,
and a goal chance. So there was an early threat. But then when Kerry went 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, obviously was on. The setup by Louth yesterday, watching it was absolutely amazing. I was watching the wing forward number 10. He was played out from just running up and down, not engaging at all in any football. But to think that a team can just so easily give up the kick out and all go back inside and park the bus, it's awful stuff, really, isn't it?
It is, and you know, that's a kind of a game. Tyrone they had the players for it. Louth doesn't have the players. No, they don't have the. It's all right to fill your defence, but you need to have forwards. You know, and that's where they struggled yesterday. You know, they had opportunities, but they just couldn't put the ball over the bar or hit or punish Kerry when they got into places. And I think when we turned them over, then we were using the foot pass yesterday. We weren't using the couple of solos and passing it lateral or sideways. You know, we were using the foot pass, like John said, straight up. When Paddy used to get it was head up, and it was a direct pass into the forwards, and we were able to get the ball up before they were able to set up their blanket at times.
And we had the ability to kick points from 45 yards. You know, David Clifford, Shawnee Shea, Paddy, Dermot Connor, and you know, you can have 13, 15 men back. But the way to beat it is long range kicking.
Exactly.
And it was so frustrating for Louth. They were defending in numbers, but we were still 8 or 10 points up.
And even when we were passing the ball lateral over and back, we were still doing it at speed.
We were, yeah.
You know, at times you can be doing that very slowly, but we were attacking the gap. So everything in that side of it was good yesterday.
We were 1-60 on before the game ever started, so we should listen to the bookies, should we? To be fair about it.
Bookies never wrong.
The bookies have said them wrong. But we were in the queue going in, and John's point is very valid, because you meet all shades of opinion and the whole lot, and it was very varied. I mean, okay, there was the people saying, look, this is Louth, we're going to hammer them. There were the people saying, you know, this could be our Waterloo here today, we won't get the result that we need. There was a real fear that midfield wouldn't get going again. Midfield got going from the word goal, Liam, didn't they?
They did, yeah, and I agree. But there was a big Kerry support up there yesterday, and I think the reason for that was we were very, we didn't know what kind of Kerry
team. It wasn't on television, and you could only listen to Ambrose. And I think most people went to Portlaoise to listen to Ambrose in Portlaoise live.
and there was that fear, like that, with the way Louth were playing and the way Kerry were playing, we didn't know what kind of a Kerry would show up. But thank God we got the real Kerry yesterday to put us back on line. But yeah, it's
talks about midfield though. I mean, like, those lads are under pressure since we started this show here after the first league game. You know, people every night of the week it comes in. We don't have the same midfield. David Moran is gone. The world is over. But yesterday was the first signs for me anyway that we have the players. We knew we had the players. But they really stepped up to mark. Dermot O'Connor yesterday, particularly in the first half, in the first 20 minutes, I mean, he kicked 3 massive points from play, as long range as David Clifford was kicking them, really onto the ball. Jack Barry, I mean, the first ball that he won, he was nearly cleaned out. He drove straight through, which was great to see as well. That, for their confidence alone this evening, you know, that must be great.
It is, yeah. And like you said there, Jack Barry, when he got the ball, he drove straight through. That's the first time Jack Barry has been doing that. It's the first time we've seen Dermot O'Connor kind of, you know, throw off the shackles and have a cut at the posts and draw attention. Because what was happening was they were drawing so much attention. Eventually David got on the ball. Next thing, David had 1-2 kick before Louth even knew it. Yeah. You know, so that's what we need. We need our midfielders not only to be in the middle of the field, but to have an input going forward and defensively. And
I think what with the Kerry supporters, you know, the reaction and the reception that Jack Barry got going off.
Yeah.
It was very warm, wasn't it?
It is, yeah.
It was genuine, it was warm,
yes.
it was sincere.
And it was saying this, well done, Jack, and the job done. And I thought that was a statement by the Kerry supporters.
It was like, we're not Facebook warriors, we're here, we paid our 25 euros and we really appreciate your effort. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought that, obviously it was eclipsed, of course, by David coming off the field afterwards.
And guard escorts and all that.
Absolutely, it was amazing to watch. Come here, it was a Kerry to behold, because I suppose, all good things about it. I mean, the attacking, the flair, the ability to think. But the goals were fantastic as well, weren't they?
Yeah, well worked.
Yeah.
Every one of them well worked. And even David's first goal, if you watched it back last night, the run that he made,
yes.
He was, the minute he gave that first pass, he wanted that before it was going to hit the back of the net. He was the fella, and that kind of set the whole thing for the scene for the game. And the rest of the goals were the same. They were all intelligent passing. But like we've been saying here all along, and I think why we've been frustrated, talking about it even, we know they're good footballers, and it was just to get it out of them.
And for the first goal, in Darramine, his turnover,
great work rate.
The work rate, we have been lacking that. We don't know what's going on in training, but as people talking to people coming out, then it's loud, while it's a marker. We need to repeat it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we can only beat what's put out in front of us.
That's all, yeah.
Many a night we just talk about the games here and we're critical, whereas tonight it's nice to be sitting here and praising these guys.
Right. Praising these guys, we were blanked here. Dinny, if you're out there, I hope you didn't get drowned in the flood coming down around Street, but we have a seat.
He's still celebrating.
Let's talk about the Cork celebrations for a while. John Kennedy, while I'd say it wasn't a total shock, and I mean that sincerely, but when the text came through and Mayo were going 4 points clear, 5 points clear, 6 points clear, at that stage, it was over in my head. It was waste of time. It was gone. We were going to go back to Clarny the following. How did Cork turn that game around?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, when Tommy Conroy got the goal, I think 6 points you'd say Mayo through, but they made a few changes. Rory Dean got injured. I think Stephen Sherlock coming in, and Sherlock got 1-5.
He played very well off the bench with us as well, against us.
He is a kicker, and he's one of the guys that went for it. But I think that this is a different Cork team. I think Kevin Welsh has his fingerprints about their defensive display, and they have a resilience about them. And Jack mentioned it last night in the interview that it wasn't a surprise because they did very well against us down at Páirc Cave.
It was 10 out of 10 for Jack. I mean, he didn't even talk about his own team or his own performance. It was straight away fair play to Cork. What a performance. The one worrying aspect of the Cork game, and you're about the defence, I mean, they did leave Mayo go ahead, but from a Mayo perspective, they didn't score in the last 19 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I think it was 1-6 to no score. And that's a
huge turnaround with two teams that are
not the Mayo that played in St. Clarny anyway. A different team altogether. Yeah.
But the one thing about the whole weekend, Donal, and we'd have to say it is, and I'm often critical of the GA and the structures, but this system.
Take the word off and out of that.
This system, it was a super Sunday yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. Coming back in the car, listening to I had RT radio on, and the two games, Tyrone and Westmeath, and Armagh and Galway. What value, and Westmeath, how unlucky they were, but look, what a finish. Apart from the Clare game on Saturday night against Derry, there was something to play for in all the other matches.
And even the Tailteann Cup is lively as well.
In fairness, and it I think this weekend kick-started the football championship, in fairness.
Jeez, lads, you're as happy as the hurling game. Things are flying for us. Evening, lads. Firstly, it was a credit to the Kerry supporters who travelled in large numbers yesterday. Louth were limited, but Kerry have upped their performance all over the field. Just on David Clifford, his talents transcend sporting rivals, and the whole GA community should treasure this fella as likes of may not be seen again in that regards. And that's from Neil Ferter, of course, in Dunor in County Meath. Good evening to you, Neil. Of course, Meath had a good win. Of course, they're in the Tailteann Cup semi-final, probably booking their own way into the All-Ireland through the back door. Just dwell down on the David Clifford point, because I had another comment, similar but different, as the man says. Similar but different. Here it is. Same idea. Can parents please stop sending children into the field after David Clifford at this stage? Surely every child in Kerry should have an autograph or a selfie. I think when a player has to leave a game ahead of time just to get away, it's an indictment of those people thinking that not only is he a good footballer, but a great babysitter. It's kind of funny, it's kind of comedy, but I suppose, but is that just the star quality that you're drawn?
It is, yeah. But when I was looking down yesterday, and the guys around me, there was guys from Louth around us, and when they took him off, one of the Louth fellas turned around to me, he said, "I'm going to get €10 back because I came to see David for the whole game." fellas come to see David from all over the country. A lot of the youngsters that were down in front of the dugout that time, they weren't Kerry support. They were loud jerseys. They were loud jerseys, and there was a lot of Laois people around there as well, genuine GA supporters, youngsters, and they wanted to meet David Clifford. And David Clifford, whatever way you can turn it upside down or inside out now, he's like the Beatles. You know, the crowd that came, the minute he came off the game yesterday, the youngsters just, they were like bees. They just came around him, and you know, it was a kind of a laugh. And in one way, it's a pity that he couldn't stay and kind of sign a few autographs, that he had to be rushed off to the dressing room.
Put into context of people that weren't there, I mean, David Clifford came off maybe 10 or 15 minutes before ahead of time. He came over, he had to sit in the stand because that's where the sub sat, and as soon as he sat there, kids began to flock through the stand, down droves. He was like the Pied Piper.
They all came to him.
And I suppose for a while, I mean, there was 10 or 20. Before long, there was 200 or 300 of them, and then all of a sudden, I suppose people were looking across, and I know there were guards of security or what they were, fellas with yellow jackets anyway, you know, Liam will know what they look like, and they bounced the way down and they took him out. There was no malice or threats or anything to it. It was funny, it was in good humour. David was in good humour, it was a good laugh, but he still had to come off, because had he been on the field when the game was over at full time,
he'd probably be there. He'd still be there.
He'd be as late as did he longest.
He'd be still there, yeah. But it just shows like the support that it's unbelievable. But just to watch him is unbelievable as well. You know, the stuff he did yesterday, you would just sit back and you'd kind of take a gasp yourself. And we're so used to watching him now, and you'd still be going, wow, why did he do that? His first point that was 50 yards, 55 yards out.
Effortless,
and
really.
Effortless, yeah. You know, so it's
and
just
the goal, the way he put it away, Liam.
Yeah, and even the penalty. Wouldn't see it in the World Cup.
No, yeah.
No, so
The other good thing yesterday, and I was in the middle of Louth supporters, like at half time, the field was full of kids.
Mm-hmm. That was nice to see, yeah.
It was brilliant. I think it's something in the GA. You're being taught to stay off the pitch. And
in theory to that, right, totally right, obviously it's brilliant, and seeing it and see it in the hurling. Speaking to some of the subs afterwards, they weren't too impressed about it.
They were inside in the middle of it, trying to do a warm-up.
And then you trying to blast the ball and the pass and the whole lot. So there is a time for it, I get it. But no, it was fantastic to see.
It's great to stay at the end of the sun. I mean, it was Louth's big day yesterday against the All-Ireland champions, and like even with David and that, you know, he's the pin-up by Gaelic football. Isn't it brilliant to have?
Yeah.
And you know, we're lucky to have him. The GA is lucky to have him, because he's a superstar, in fairness.
Absolutely. And we're lucky to have both of you here this evening as well. We'll take a quick break. Lots of comments coming in. I need to get to them now as well. And I'll get back to the chalk ice one as well, because a comment came in there about the chalk ice. And I said I wouldn't ask these two boys in front of me, because they don't seem to be like chalk ice men at all. Hello lads, is it time to stop all this beating around the bush and just go play the All-Ireland final between Kerry and Dublin from Dennis? Well, Dennis is, you know, fair play. The two biggest wins of the weekend. Will they be the two teams in the final?
Well, they're the foreign teams at the moment. They're putting up huge scores, and
sure, you always loved an old bash against Dublin in the final, John, didn't you?
Wouldn't it be a nice one to look forward to?
Congratulations to the Kerry senior ladies and men's management on good wins of the weekend, and continue good luck. And wouldn't it be nice to see both teams win All Ireland's up in the Kingdom, or up the Kingdom? That's Dermot and Margaret, and down there into Sis. Great supporters of ladies football and men's football too, of course. Fabulous game by the ladies on Saturday evening. Unbelievable heart and skill in the face of such a tough game. They gave it their all. Well done, ladies. And that's from Eileen. Thank you, Eileen. A kind of different question that I'm going to aim this one at you, Liam, because you're just a better singer, I'd imagine. This text is not directly related to football, but every time I go to a match, our national anthem is played. I wonder, are we the only country who show such disrespect to the anthem when the roaring starts before the anthem finishes? Just wonder if the panel have any comment. Apart from it, great to see Kerry playing such great football yesterday, kicking, scoring from distance, and completely negating that blanket defence. And that regards from Mike. I'm kind of with Mike a small bit on that. I mean, people get fierce carried away 10 seconds before the end.
Excitement, yeah. And it was, John, you remember the day when you were standing beside your man during it? And, that's right, yeah. and you might get a thump off from men before, because you wouldn't be expecting it, and you'll get a thump off the cornerback or the wing back.
That's interesting, John. Good point, actually. In the old days, you'd go into your position and you'd stand beside.
I often got a
who used to stand beside? Who stood beside
the referee, just in case anyone hits him?
I remember the late Paddy Shea and John McNally had it one year. It was typical that the backs would get a dunt in.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
And that, as in the backs would do the forwards, or the forwards would do the backs?
The backs would, you'd get.
The forwards are better singers, Donal. The backs.
But that was nothing malicious. No, it was just kind of a welcome. Welcome. Yeah. We're ready to go.
Yeah. Wow, good stuff. That's why they put them all in the safety of themselves standing in the middle of the field. More comments coming in. Great to see them, of course. Sorry for Louth. They picked a bad day to play a very good Kerry team. I think that's probably hit the nail on the head too. Louth probably better team than they were. Donal, I love listening to Terrace talk again, since you are including your neighbours. We did you a big favour, and I hope you remember that. Also, poor Paddy Palmer would have got a good few miles out of both results yesterday. Absolutely.
That's right,
both his teams won really yesterday, didn't they? I suppose going back to the Cork again, Liam, we all know they're a proud county. We've been saying for years that Kerry need a good Cork team to come along.
Exactly, yeah.
The green shoots are certainly rising.
They are, and they have been there, Donald. We've often scratched our head, because if you look, even when we won the 5 in a row minor titles that time, probably the second best team that we played in all them years was Cork. You know, so the footballers are there. Like you said, they're a proud county. You know, we could never put our finger on what was wrong up there. But obviously they're starting to, like you said, there's green shoots starting to appear, and it's great, because we used to love the days when we go to the Cork Kerry matches, either players or supporters, and you would have 30,000 there, and you'd be talking about it for the week before and the week after. No, the last couple of years, there's been no buzz about it, no talk about it. So we'd love to get back to them days again, and I think they're shoving closer. Yeah,
the socks are certainly being pulled up a bit. Call from Tralee, John, just around the corner. Do Kerry have a home game for the quarter final? Answer that there, lads.
No, a Croke Park. Quarterfinals.
It's a definite no, lads.
Definite no,
no, John, it's a definite no, both those games, because if Kerry had won yesterday, which they did, and if Cork hadn't won, John, we'd be in Killarney, and I can imagine the scramble for seats and tickets and, I suppose, rooms and everything over in Killarney. God, Cork really cost Killarney a few bob, Liam, didn't they?
That's no Munster final, and that's no preliminary round. So there's a lot of barrels of beer, I'd say, St. Killarney on store still.
God, I'm watching fair play to Cork. Kerry had a great game. Hope they keep it up. I hope they go all the way now for Sam. Thank you very much. Donald, that's not what I said outside the gate. Oh, here we go. I was outside the gate with a lot of people now.
I was too for a while.
I was only saying it was great to see Liam Brosnan in the away game. That's Bob from Tralee.
Bob, no better man than Bob.
Yeah, fair play. Well, myself and Bob were there so early they wouldn't even leave us in. I'd say.
I was behind you.
Yeah. Well, no, you drove in. Actually, it was funny, because when I was leaving early in the morning, and I left early in the morning, Liam Brosnan was heading with his big van with his name all over the side of it. You were going the other way. You were heading back into.
Back to Farn. Yeah, I was dropping off the van. Yeah, because with those floods the day before, some of us have to work.
You made incredible time to get up. Donal, what does the panel think of David's style of kicking for a penalty? Bob from Tralee. Yeah, it's the soccer style, isn't it? Is that where that's going?
They're great when they go in, but when they don't go in, they can be a bit of a flops, all right. But with the man that's kicking it, I'd have no fear. Even I'd say if he kicked it with.
But he has a soccer background too.
Yeah, he's very good. Was a very good soccer player. Yeah.
They can have high Donal, great performance and win by Kerry, but we can't get carried away. Going to face much stiffer opposition in the quarterfinals. A great win for the Kerry ladies too, and that's Charles, of course, up there in North Kerry. Yeah, you're dead right, Charles. It's only going to get tougher and tougher from here on in. Caller, is it fair that the Kerry minors have to travel up to Offaly at the weekend to play on the same day that Monaghan are playing Kildare in Offaly? So that's obviously a double header. Is it fair? I suppose the venues are picked and that's the way it goes, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that happens with the minors. I think it's happened down the years, and it's.
And I think we've got double headers down the years as well.
We've got, it's to look at the draw really and what teams are in, and but I'd say Wayne and the lads won't mind where they're playing. I think they're on the crest of a wave.
And there'll be a bit of a buzz when there's a bit of a crowd playing. Yeah, young fellas will be looking forward to that now because there'll be a bit of excitement, and I do think that's something that when we did change the age, taking it away from big occasions, probably took a bit away from it.
Yeah,
because we'd always loved playing the All-Ireland semi-finals in Croke Park and the All-Ireland final in Croke Park.
Yeah.
Whereas now this is a big occasion for these young fellas.
I think, Liam, you're right. The big one is the final won't be in Croke Park.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's
not fair. That's not right. Yeah.
Because some of these lads mightn't wear the Kerry jersey or an intercounty jersey anymore.
Yeah.
And their day in the sun is Croke Park on All Ireland final day. It's something you'll never forget.
Yeah.
I think it should be put back there, regardless of the age, and you'll fit it in at some time on a big match day, and you've played in Croke Park.
I think supporters love that programme as well, where the minor team are in it, and in 5 years' time or 8 years' time, you're looking at.
But if I've ever spotted Donal, he's been talking to supporters, they'll always say, "Donal Barry, he was a Kerry minor." They'll never say you were a Kerry senior. But they'll say you're Kerry minor.
Exactly,
So everyone remembers a Kerry minor. Yeah.
And just to clarify for listeners, I wasn't a Kerry minor. They wouldn't select me to all. I was from a small club. The rules of the competition are flawed, Donal. Kerry finished top and now are in Croke Park, and had they finished second, they were playing Clarny. I wonder which is better. What is better? Is it better that we go straight to Croke Park, or could we be done with another day out in Clarny, Liam?
I'd rather have gone to the route we have gone now. That would suit me if I was Jack, because you get that extra week.
The route Jack would have wanted
just
to go.
The route, yeah. Because if you could have went into the draw this morning, you could be drawing Mayo, or you could have been or sorry, not Mayo, because you could have been drawing Galway, so Jack wants to get to Northern in quarter final, and that's where he wants to be. Plus he has that week of a break now, so that'll suit a lot of needly injuries, because I'd say Paul Ganey has a needly injury, Gavin White might get an extra week now, so it'll get bodies back.
Yeah, we'll get more into the chat now in a minute, but I mean, my God, I should never have asked Lee nicely out there, listeners, to send in comments, because they're certainly coming at 100 miles an hour. We'll never get out of here. Amazing effort by Kerry. It was great to see so many of them with smiles after the game, as they took time to chat with young kids. There was that real feel afterwards that all was right in the world, John. I mean, the crowd on the field, it was like, for all the world, it was like a club more than a county. I mean, we were all back wearing the Kerry jersey again. It's amazing what a win and a couple of goals can do.
There's no doubt, and like there's a great connection between the players and the supporters, and they weren't overcritical, the Kerry supporters, when we weren't going that well, because we were all Ireland champions, you're the year after all this. But yesterday, I think there was an air, there was an enthusiasm. Yeah, we're back, and there was a statement. And a lot of people I was talking, they felt sorry for Louth, that they were at the end of a battering from a Kerry team that was in form, and the things click for, and look, it's brilliant, and there was a great buzz around. And even today, there's an expectation now that the form is coming back at the right time, and the sharpness is returning,
And just on that, Donal, before I go, I would say hello to a Kerry supporter who's a big fan of the show.
Have one, have we?
You had, well, I call it number 4 because I had 3 last week. So John Joe Young, he's actually a first cousin of Kit Ryan, the great Kit Ryan's Kerry supporter, and her daughter and herself travel up and down the country, and he said it made his day yesterday, Kerry winning. He got a photograph with Ambrose, and it topped off his day. He got a photograph of me at the end of the day.
Oh God,
he must have been delighted.
So he's going to tell his brother Gerard now in the UK about it as well. So
yeah, God. Well, actually, speaking of great supporters, and I suppose young, isn't the thing, but 93 years young is Pat Murphy, and they flew in from Chicago to watch the match. They couldn't miss out on the match in Portlaoise. The great Kerry, of course, supporters. And he travelled with his 2 sons and his 2 grandsons, and of course the family had to listen to Tim and Ambrose over in Chicago as well. And it's great to see so many people. I suppose we kind of forget that we have supporters of Kerry outside of Kerry. We just we get very narrow at times, but Mike in Rochester, New York, and we say hello to him when we can. Mike here again from Rochester, New York. Great win for Kerry. It was never in doubt, and what a draw to see Galway and Mayo meet each other. One good team will be gone before the quarterfinals, and it's great hearing you all on again. And what we will do is, after the break, we will talk about those quarterfinals, the preliminary quarterfinals, because Kerry's prospective opponent is going to come out of this bowl of things, and we'll have one look at that after the break. But we're currently talking about, I suppose, the hunt for Sam Maguire. But I have to fly through these comments because they're coming in at 100 miles an hour, and I've always promised that I'll read them out. Some good, some bad. Here we go. Well done to Kerry team yesterday. Thought all the lads played very well. Big shout out there for our South Kerry man, Graham O'Sullivan. He played a great game. Well, absolutely. And I didn't write that one myself, so
he did. He played well.
He was good. Ring of Kerry cycles on the same day as Kerry versus Cavan. That's the ladies' game. That's going to make for interesting driving to Tralee for a 12:30 game. Yeah, well, God help us, I suppose you'll be there. The next poor person is looking to buy a ticket for the Kerry Cavan game, and I'd say if you check in there with the LGFA website, it'll come online. You can buy it online there as well. It was a good job. The ladies use a buzzer, otherwise the ref would have played on indefinitely, as happens in often men's games. But I suppose with the buzzer and the clock stopping, it kind of dictates how much time is left, and actually the buzzer is out of the referee's hand as such, so that's happening by thing. John, you must have played against the great Teddy McCarthy.
I did, yeah.
You didn't line up on the sideline with him before Ron Naveen or anything, no?
No, Teddy was a sad loss to the family and to the GA, but an incredible athlete, super hurler, great footballer as well, and marked him actually believe in a Munster final for about 15 minutes in 84, I think. And but his feat, I suppose, in 91, winning 2 All-Irelands in 2 weeks was...
It'll never again be done.
Never again.
Yeah.
And he was off the field like most GA people. Like he was just a humble guy, and dedicated to his club, and what a loss. Too young to go, really, but a legend of the game.
Yeah, huge legend, of course, gone before his time as well. Caller in, if it wasn't for Tim and Ambrose, we wouldn't have a clue what happened in the game. They're a credit to the station. Yeah, absolutely. Is there any truth that Tim and Ambrose are going out setting up their own radio station? I wonder, is that, could you imagine to be
they nearly to get the guards. They escort Ambrose away, like David Clifford. There were so many around him.
Ambrose was certainly hauling them all in, absolutely. Caller, question for John, and this is a settle a bit, God almighty. Is Aaron Kennelly a nephew of Tim Kennelly?
He's son of Mike Kennelly, Councillor Mike Kennelly.
To give him his full title.
Yeah, another great prospect. And it's something in the GA, Donal, we were speaking about it yesterday, is the names that are coming through in all counties. And Kerry's no different. Another Kennelly in the stall, and one to watch out for.
Yeah.
No. And if you look at him quickly, you would know he's a Kennelly. You would, yeah.
And of course, the father, Mike, if he's listening out here, you're a great umpire as well, Mike. Fair play to you.
Oh, there's a bit of history there, Jack.
That could be loaded now, Mike.
I love going to Listowel. Now, a very unhappy Corriman. Well, I suppose I won't say very unhappy Corriman. You could have solved this problem now yesterday. But anyway, hi Donal. Portlaoise is a hopeless venue for a game. Trying to find a parking space and breakfast. But the match was a credit to both players and management. Give me Killarney any day, but I knew it couldn't be played there. And that's John from Corra. Well, John, I've all problems solved now. Next time, Liam Brosnan will drive you. He gets very handy parking spots outside the field, and I'm sure you know some breakfast spot as well on the way up.
No, that's one thing, all right. They were giving out about the shop yesterday. A lot of supporters. No, I didn't get a chance to get down because Bob wouldn't leave me out of my seats.
The shop at the stand anyway was a disaster because it wouldn't cater for the crowd that was there really.
Yeah.
There was a huge crowd, of course, in fairness to them. Hi, Donal, congratulations to the Kerry men and women. The shadowboxing is over by now. Kerry Loud bore the brunt of it, but it's like caveat, we still don't know how Kerry are going to do until we meet a top team, and it's going to be straight through to the quarterfinals. Yeah, and let's talk about, we'll move on from the comments now. The quarterfinals, of course, they were announced this morning. Kildare, and of course they're preliminary quarterfinals, not actual quarterfinals. Kildare and Monaghan, Cork and Roscommon, Donegal and Tyrone, Galway and Mayo. And of course, John Kennedy, Galway Mayo jumps off that sheet massively. One of them won't be in a quarterfinal, which is absolutely amazing because both of those teams were in first position yesterday, and one of them will be gone before they get to the last 8.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I think it shows. I said it earlier on about the competitiveness of the 4 groups, and particularly for Galway and Mayo, it was really turned upside down for them. A mouth-watering prospect. Galway have a few injuries. I think Sean Kelly went off. His participation will have a huge bearing on the game. Mayo, they were in control against Cork, lost it. So it's their season is hinging on next weekend.
Yeah,
huge game.
Mayo be very worried. I mean, both those games, they kind of, for Kerry, they managed to play the whole hour and plus with it. But in the last 2 games, they kind of faded away. They faded away too to Louth as well, to be fair to them. And yesterday, obviously, to Cork. So I mean, there's a bit of work there. The 7-day turnaround as well for both those teams, Liam. That doesn't really help them, does it? It
doesn't. No, and that's why when we talked earlier, it was nice for Kerry to jump that step and go straight to a quarter final, because like whoever will come out of that Galway Mayo game, there's going to be sore bodies in that. You could pick up a couple of injuries. You're going into an All-Ireland quarter final the week after. So it's a big game for them.
Big game as well for Cork and Roscommon. I mean, can Cork back up now what they done? I mean, it's fantastic. We're all talking them up. We all think they're in a quarter final. Roscommon, I suppose, a bit disappointed they lost to Kildare by a point. They seem to have
a bit of a Jekyll Hyde kind of a team. Roscommon, they can go out and they can be either very good or poor. There's no in between with them. So I think that'll be a close game, a close encounter as well. Because look, Cork are on a bit of a high. So
it's still a Division 1 team versus Division 2 team.
So but are you looking at maybe a lower Division 1 team? Really,
they came third.
Yeah.
They're finished higher than us, but I know what you mean. But Championship, of course, throws that out. Kildare and Monaghan, I mean, that's a free pass for either of those to get into the quarter final. John, where would you put your fiver there?
I think Kildare, they're after turning it around under Glen Ryan. They had a few bad results. Monaghan, depending on that, and Conor McManus and McCadden, Can they do it? Kildare's victory yesterday, I think it's the momentum you get like Cork from the victory. I would fancy Kildare to take that one.
The only thing about it, they're not playing at home.
They're not playing at home,
It's on Tullamore. The thing of Newbridge and nowhere, they have nowhere to go.
Isn't it amazing that you're a county and you don't have a venue in your own county big enough to host a home game, and you have to go to the neighbours next door?
They're doing it up at the moment. They're doing it up so they can play there. That's why. Otherwise it probably would be in Newbridge.
Newbridge or nowhere as well.
Yeah.
Would that be close to the Crow Park? Surely they'd open Crow Park for them if they asked nicely.
Well,
after all they're giving out about it.
Yeah, exactly.
The last ones, Donegal and Tyrone, both our friends. Donegal, who seem to have an awful season, are still hanging around the place, and Tyrone, who started 100 miles an hour, looked vulnerable enough yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and I think the Canavans certainly. I think 14 points between them.
Yeah.
They kicked. This is a tough one. Any Ulster game is difficult to predict. You'd imagine that the Tyrone should have enough. But Donegal have turned their season around. What looked like a disaster a few weeks ago. They have a bit of momentum going, and it's good to see it.
And Donegal at home.
And
they'll fancy a good lash of Tyrone because they're not moving the way they were with the last couple of years.
And he had no rook, to be fair. He's come in there and he's steadied the ship. There's a bit of a pep in the step again, and it's great. They're a great footballing county as well. Yeah. It's great to see them.
The only thing about it now, with the bigger teams, they know it's kind of last chance saloon here. So you'd be expecting maybe to step up a gear like we did the weekend.
Yeah.
Now you would be kind of looking at Tyrone. Maybe they'll say, right, look, we lose here today, we're out. So it's going to be an interesting.
Right, pins and collars. Kildare and Monaghan, John.
I think Kildare will win that one.
Liam.
I think Monaghan.
Oh wow, good God. Cork Roscommon.
I go for Cork.
John.
Go for Cork as well.
You do not know the last time they beat a Division 1 team was when? I'm just testing them, listeners. They have no idea, I guarantee you. It was a sorrowful night above in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
They beat us in the Munster.
So if they're going to beat another Division 1 team, it'll be Roscommon. Donegal and Tyrone, John?
Tyrone.
Oh.
I'd be going Tyrone as well.
God, lads, you can have different opinions. It is okay. Galway Mayo should divide you, surely.
I'll go Mayo.
You're going
I'll go Galway just to go against him, but I think it's going to be
John Kennedy thinks last year's All-Ireland finalists won't make the quarter-final.
I don't think they will. I think that
the injuries.
The injuries,
you'll be worried about them with the injuries, yeah.
And that was a disappointing result yesterday from against Armagh.
Yeah.
Huge win for Armagh, but Galway, they haven't kicked on, and the injuries. Damien Comer, question mark. Sean Kelly,
question mark, yeah.
And Shane Welsh not going well. Missed a penalty, confidence is down. I think Mayo, they're a wounded animal.
He's never been the same since he went to Dublin.
No, should never have gone.
We'll start him off again.
Fear now again.
Can't start him off again. We'll be at it all evening. Back to the question I was asked at the start of the evening, lads. As I said, everything worries the GA fans and the whole lot. Black cards worried them, Mark worries them, the whole lot. But the biggest thing that was worrying a lot of people above yesterday was no chalk ices. Can you imagine?
That's a disaster.
A disaster.
Yeah.
GA's most traditional ice cream not being there. We got a PR from because
what are they going to say? The fellow goes on with the chalks. He's to change his wording now.
He's going to have to offer brunches or something. It says basically the ice lollies are no longer as popular as they were in the past, according to the company. A petition was started to save the ice cream, of course, and more than 7,000 people have signed at this stage. Spokesman for HB said that the company is sorry to disappoint chalk ice lovers with the discontinuation of this ice cream, but we have found it is no longer as popular as it was.
And what's the number one?
Does that mean, serious question, does that mean that the real genuine GA fans are not going to matches anymore? It's a good question, because if you think about it, I grew up, I mean, the chalk ice man was the man at a match. It was probably the only time we ever got an ice cream. What are we going to eat instead of it? What's your ice cream of flavour, Liam?
I suppose we'll have brunch now, or a twister or something like that. But see, that's the younger generation now have a fancier probably ice cream now.
Probably don't eat ice cream.
A Magnum.
But see, that's the younger generation. That's the most expensive ice cream you can get. You can't. You couldn't buy a Magnum at a football match. It cost you €10.
Magnum was Tom's ice burger for our son. He's an ice burger. The only Magnum was Tom Selleck. I mean, he wasn't an ice cream. So, where are you going with it? Guys, everybody's happy in Kerry. I mean, we won, everything's great, the whole lot. Jack gets, I suppose, a bit of sigh of relief, a breathing space, the whole lot. We've no game to look forward to next week. We've nothing to worry about. We can watch everybody else, the whole lot. But the real stuff starts in 2 weeks when the draw is made Monday week. John, have you seen enough in this Kerry team, particularly in one game alone, to say, yeah, we're good and ready to defend our title?
We have the ability, Donal. We've said that all along. It's just that we weren't firing. No injuries really serious. I think Gavin White and Paul Gainey, they're more precaution than anything. Didn't get an injury yesterday. Huge boost for the confidence. The 2 weeks is very important. And, I think that we're up there. We're in the mix. There's 3 or 4 teams, and I suppose Dublin are the other one that you're looking at. But we have the footballers. We showed it yesterday. A golfing class. But the pace that we played at
was championship pace.
Championship pace, yeah.
And there's only two games that we can get in a quarter final done, isn't it?
We can't play teams we've played before until the semi-finals.
So it's either the winners of Kildare, Monaghan, or Donegal, Tyrone in a quarter final.
So and so must check your predictions. That means you have Tyrone booked in first, is it?
Tyrone, I'd say.
And John is hoping to Kildare. Fair play to you. You don't agree on anything, lads. You have to get better pundits. Finally, 10 seconds or less. Do you play Aussie rules?
No, I never played it.
Would you have liked it?
Well, of course, I would like to, of course, maybe, but it's a different game. And look, the lads that are gone out there, and well done to Mark O'Connor, milestone there at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Liam, sure, you surely would have loved now Aussie rules game.
No, I would never played it, but I'm amazed. John played Knockcurry football for years, so that was the closest thing to Aussie rules.
No Aussie rules.
That was Aussie rules.
There was no compromise rules.
He would have been well able for us.
Good stuff, fair play. Listen, lads, thanks very much for joining us this evening. We'll catch up again in 2 weeks' time when we have plenty to do, but now we go straight to news.